Hey guys, and welcome to another video. And today I'm going to be doing, I guess, my annual E3 video. I've done it at least last year, if not maybe the year before. I can't remember. But it's Friday the 17th. I think E3 officially ended yesterday. I just want to say up front, I didn't watch or pay attention to every single announcement, press conference, yada yada yada, etc. from this year's E3. I only paid attention to a couple of things, but I want to talk about the ones that I did pay attention to and games that were announced and other announcements that were made that meant something to me. So I got to start with Sunday night. I did come home from work. I was able to sit down in front of the TV there and actually watch a stream of Bethesda's press conference. And I believe I saw the whole entire thing. I think maybe right after it ended, I might have dozed off during the afterthoughts. I watched GameSpot's stream of it, so I was watching guys like Danny Dwyer and let's see, there was Alexa Ray Correa, and a couple other people. So I was listening to what they had to say afterwards. But the main things that I enjoyed from Bethesda's conference that really apply to me, of course, was Dishonored 2, which I went ahead and pre-ordered this week. Figured I may as well. It comes out later this year. Pre-ordered the collector's edition, the one with the Corvo mask and a bunch of other cool stuff. Not that expensive, so I decided I would go for it. Saw the gameplay for it. I'm a fan of the first game, even though I've only played a small portion of it. I will be trying to play the definitive edition for the PS4 sometime this year before the sequel comes out. But really, for me, the biggest announcement from Bethesda was really more confirmation, because the rumors had been going around for a while. But that was Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition, or whatever they're calling it. Essentially, remastered version of Skyrim for current consoles with better graphics, not just making the resolution better, frame rate, but like upgraded graphics, all the DLC included, and one of the coolest parts of it all, and we've already seen this at least talked about with Fallout 4, but mod support. Maybe not every mod that's available for the PC version of the game, but mods for console. And I just want to address something, may not apply to anybody who's watching this, but some people were like, who gives a shit? Man, the PC version of Skyrim has had mods that enabled you to upgrade the graphics of the game anyway. And I just want to remind those people that not everybody has a computer that can handle that. My computer, I actually have PC version of Skyrim, and for a while when I first started playing it, it looked decent. It was by no means awesome. It looked decent for sure, but a AMD update, driver update or something that happened a couple months ago came along, and I was like, okay, sure, why not? It just killed it. Skyrim looks like something from the late 90s on my computer now. It's horrible. And I can't do anything to fix that. This is just a basic Walmart-style computer, integrated graphics card. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of money on this PC for an experience like Skyrim with mods. I already have a PS4, and later this year in October, I'm going to get basically Skyrim with mods to play on my 46-inch TV and not my 20-inch monitor. So the PC elitists out there, the PC master race, not everybody can do what you guys can do. Not everybody wants to do that. I'm not one of these people who complains when the PC market gets something that the consoles don't. But I'm certainly one of the first to, get excited when consoles get something that PC was the only, platform on which that would come along on. Skyrim, this Skyrim Special Edition is something I'm looking forward to, even though I guess I was hoping that they wouldn't charge the full $60 price for it, but that's what it's going to be, apparently. So, I think from Bethesda's conference, those were the only things that really caught my attention. I mean, they talked about a new Quake game. It's a multiplayer kind of shooter game. I don't really care. Let's see, they talked about Doom. One of these days I might get Doom and play the single-player campaign. But it's not that high on my list. It was cool to hear them say that Doom and Fallout 4 were going to be fully compatible with HTC Vive sometime later this year. And I'll mention this now because I'm going to segue into Sony's presentation next. And they talked a lot about their VR. I've been up and down all over the scale when it comes to VR stuff. Like, I want to get the PlayStation VR, but then I'm not 100% sure. It all comes down to the fact that I'm going to spend a couple $100, like $400 to $500, to get the rig, the motion controllers, the camera, the headset. And I might put that thing on and play for 20 minutes and get ill. I might get motion sickness. I might get a migraine headache. It's a lot of money to take a chance on that. Unless I could get one of those things on my head and play it for myself to see how I react, I don't know that I want to spend any money on one of these VR things. But the HTC Vive, which is much more expensive than the Sony's PlayStation VR, is going to allow people to play the entirety of both Doom and Fallout 4 in VR. That's pretty cool. And as I said, I was going to transition into Sony because nothing else is coming to mind from Bethesda's conference. But Sony was the big one for me. I got to watch that Monday night from start to finish, and I was invested. They had a great show, a great presentation, a live orchestra, and they showed a bunch of awesome games. So I'm just going to try to bullet point a bunch of those. First of all, they started off with the reveal of the new God of War game. Now, I'm a guy who owns, I think, all of them except for maybe God of War 3. But I'm not that big of a fan. The gameplay style, it's, reminiscent of Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, and I own some of those games, but I'm not really into them. But this game looked different, and I like the fact that they went for something different. I like it a lot. This one looks like something I'm going to want to get into. I will want to see a little bit more about it, but I have adopted a new frame of mind for games and movies. I've already been doing it, I'd say, for probably a good year or two. I watch as little of the trailers and the previews and the hype for stuff as I possibly can. Just give me a few little morsels, and then I will detach myself from all the media, advertisement, and hype bullshit. Not so much because I feel like I'm going to be disappointed by what I get at the end, but because I want to be surprised and not know so much about it. Even to the point where maybe I would be disappointed because I didn't watch enough to see that it was like this or it was like that. God of War, I've heard, is not an open world game. I've heard that there's still a lot of aspects included in this that were in the other games, even though the trailer and or the gameplay that they showed didn't indicate as much. But I just looking at it, I'm like, man, I like the looks of this. So God of War was pretty awesome. The next thing that they showed was another kind of out of nowhere thing for me. A new IP, although it's kind of based off of a premise that's been done to death maybe. But it was a game called Days Gone. And it's kind of a zombie survival horror style game. Only the power of today's consoles were able to render just this amazing swarm of zombies. They looked a lot like the zombies from World War Z, the Brad Pitt movie, and that they moved like a cross between water and like bees in the air. It's really cool. And it seems to be story driven and character driven, so I love that. So Days Gone, definitely something I'm going to be keeping my eyes on. Let's see. Okay, one really big thing. The Last Guardian was given a street date. Now, of course, these dates can change. No Man's Sky recently was knocked back. That would have been out in 4 days from when I'm recording this. Now it's in August. So, The Last Guardian, it's already had it already has a reputation of getting held off and being mysterious, but they said October 25th, so I sure hope that's going to happen. And then they dropped the bomb on me when I was looking at it on Amazon, a collector's edition. It's like $120 with some pretty cool stuff. I will admit, I canceled my pre-order for the regular $60 version and switched to that. But I'm hoping that game is going to be really awesome, just because of the pedigree of Team Ico. So that got a date. All right, let's see. What were some other things? Resident Evil 7, that was a bit of a shocker because the footage that they showed looked like not only a PT ripoff, but a PT ripoff that wasn't done all that well. The motions and the visuals and the graphics, in my opinion, did not measure up to PT. But apparently this is the new Resident Evil 7, quite possibly a first-person game. And if it does tap into the PT/Silent Hill thing, well, good for them for doing that, but that's not Resident Evil. The last couple of games people have said aren't really Resident Evil, but I don't know how this is going to fit into that world. One of these days, I'll play games 4, 5, and 6, and they are being released for the PS4, $20 a piece. So that gives me a chance to do so. But the jury is out on that for me. But I'm glad that they're doing something, and they're doing something different. So let's see, what else did they talk about? Like I said, they talked about a bunch of VR stuff, including a Batman Arkham VR experience, a Final Fantasy 15 VR experience. I was a little surprised that E3, at least the parts of E3 that I saw, didn't talk a lot about Final Fantasy 15 or the Final Fantasy 7 remake. Now, if Square had their own conference and did their own little bit in the show, that's something I haven't heard about. Like I said, I didn't pay that much attention to the entirety of E3, really just Bethesda and Sony's conferences. But I was super stoked for some of the stuff that I saw. I guess one of the things I could do is just really quick here. I can go to Amazon and look at my pre-orders and see if there's anything in here that came up because of E3. Whoops. And I'm sorry if my computer's fan is coming into the video because it's driving me nuts right now. Oh well, they did show more Horizon Zero Dawn, which was cool to see. That's a game that was kind of a no-brainer for me. I was going to have to get it. I'm still on the fence though on whether or not I get their collector's edition. It's expensive though, so I don't know. On kind of an unknown quantity game, as cool as it looks. Man, I'm not really seeing anything else more that at least I saw at the show. Let's see. Oh, okay, duh. Yeah, I did miss out on a few things, so I'll mention these really quick. Prey is coming back. Not Prey 2, not the sequel to the game that came out for the 360 and PS3, I believe, like almost 10 years ago. That sequel looked really, really awesome, and I was excited for that. But this is kind of new. It looks like a kind of a remake of the original game or something along those lines, but it looks interesting. There was David Cage's new game, Detroit Become Human. I'm sold on David Cage games. There's a lot of people who love them, a lot of people who hate them. I have enjoyed Indigo Prophecy, Heavy Rain, and Beyond Two Souls, so this looks really, really cool. And along with a few other people who talked about that game during this E3 coverage, it looks like maybe David Cage is really perfecting his formula. Let's see, what else was there? Oh, well, of course, it goes without saying. Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding, his new game. It got just a weird, surreal type of trailer and no gameplay shown. don't know anything about it, but starred a naked Norman Reedus and a baby, and a lot of people are saying, well, Norman Reedus was in the PT thing and was going to be in Silent Hills. Kojima was a part of that. There was a fetus in that one, and this one has a baby. Maybe that's just, a red herring to be thrown at us to make us think, oh, they're going to do something that has to do with PT and what they were going to do with Silent Hills. I don't know about that, but I'm just excited to see Kojima do something new, and I'm glad it's coming solely to the PS4. Sorry, Xbox One users. I'm just glad that it didn't go exclusively to Xbox One. It went to the console I have. So let's see, what else do I have on here? There is, of course, South Park's new game, The Fractured But Whole, is coming out in December. Watch Dogs 2, I think that was leaked or announced before E3, but got to see some footage of that. Titanfall 2, really kind of cool that that's not only coming to PS4 as well as Xbox One, but it will have a single-player campaign in it. So that puts it on my radar for sure. Mafia 3, I think that's just some footage for that came up this week, and I finally really paid some attention to it. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I definitely want to get in on that. And yeah, I think that's about it for Sony. So the only other thing from E3 that's really kind of percolated to the top and got my attention is a game I've talked about before that I want to get. I definitely want to get. And that's the new Legend of Zelda game for the Wii U and the NX called Breath of the Wild. Now, I only looked at a little bit of it, just saw some more of the amazing, like gorgeous, stylized, almost cel-shaded graphics. Not fully cel-shaded, but sort of an animated, like cartoon look. Not Toon Link and not realistic-looking Link, but sort of a whole new take on it. And I really, really like it. It's supposed to be a massive open world. I believe it's a no loading times kind of open world, or maybe minimal loading times, but it looks awesome. I can't wait. That's going to be a system seller for me. I'll either get a Wii U and that next March, or the NX if it's ever announced that it'll be backwards compatible with Wii U games. I don't think that it's going to be, and maybe that's even been confirmed at this point, but I will definitely get whatever system of Nintendo's that I need to play that game. And that's the last thing I want to mention here. I didn't want this to go too long. It's probably gone longer than I wanted. But those are just some of my thoughts with E3. In my opinion, Sony won, or Sony stole the show, or whatever you want to say. But I will admit that, yes, I'm biased because that's the console that I have. If you have an Xbox One, I'm sure they announce a lot of stuff that would be cool for you as well. But anyway, I'm going to stop running my mouth, and I will talk to you guys again soon.